now. I mean, what, as far as what we're looking at, welcome to those Facebook Live right now. We've got
his ugly face up. I mean, his beautiful face.
Yeah, there you go. That was right in the moment there. So, I mean, as far as that's concerned, looking at where we are now, I don't know where
we are. We're right here.
Well, I know where I am.
You know where the Redskins are? Because you're not a we. You're not a we in the Redskins.
Exactly. All right, there we go. So it's part of it, and I'm there. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. I was looking at Eric Berry, but again, he doesn't play corner.
He's a safety.
Now, we were talking about this earlier, that we signed Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and I had a big question about that. With his age, he's got the height, as you said earlier. He can transition between both, and you were talking a little bit about
he can play. He is your dime cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
He can fill in a safety spot if need be. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he's smart. He can cover better than most of your safeties, and he's a good sized guy. So I mean, he fits, and he can help all. You got most other than over the hill guy. Norman.
Mm-hmm. Over the hill guy. Overthehillguy.com.
I mean, look, it's just what he is. I mean, he went from being great to over the hill in like 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
You got all your other corners are young.
Mm-hmm.
Cromartie played well most of his career.
Right.
I mean, he was a pretty solid corner. So he can teach these young guys the mental aspect and
So it is a teaching aid for all of them.
I think so. I think a lot.
With Dunbar and Strowman, which are our main guys.
We're not talking wrestling.
No. Greg Strowman. Yeah. It's up. There it is.
Yeah, way over his head, folks.
Way over.
And he's sitting on his butt.
Really?
Yep.
Is that what this cushiony thing is now?
Yeah, that big, huge thing.
Whoa. Okay,
not that big. Not that big.
All right. You said we need a good number 2. As far as, I mean, and
now we're talking Star Trek.
Okay, all right. So
make it so number 2.
All right. Who is out there that you think would be, I mean, decent? I mean, even with because Eric Berry can't convert to corner.
No, safeties very rarely can go to corner. They're just not fast enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Corners can, as they age, can convert to safeties. Because they cover decent still. They just don't have the speed to keep up with the fast receivers, number 1s and 2s.
Welcome, Jack Gart. Welcome, Elizabeth, to the Sports Minion Radio Show. Thank y'all for joining and tuning in. Sorry for the late update, but internet problems. We got them back up. We're good to go now. I don't know who remains, I mean, at corner that we're going to pull. Is it all going to be just draft is what I mean. It looks like it's going to have to be.
Honestly, I don't think it matters for the Redskins. If they go 8-8 this year, I'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because of the no identity, you think?
I think because of their coach. Their coach is a hindrance.
Mm.
He doesn't have a team identity. He's not imaginative with his play calling.
Mm-hmm.
He's predictable. He's almost as bad as the Dallas coach.
But I mean, looking at who hired him, which is Bruce Allen and Daniel Snyder.
Well, Daniel Snyder is not a good barometer of hiring anyone.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. With Bruce Allen, anything that gets over him, he fires them. I mean, look at Scott McCloughan. Scott McCloughan was our owner, and he's now in Cleveland. And look at what
Scott McCloughan was not an owner.
I mean, our GM, and look at what he's doing in Cleveland right now. Cleveland is the bomb straight. I mean, they're
going to blow up.
They're going to blow up, and I don't mean kaboom. I mean they're going.
That's kind of scary.
Well, it should be. It should be, honestly. I just, again, the decision making, you can't put it all on the coach because
yes, you can.
The general manager and the owner hire the coaches.
Then they should have an identity together.
And if you're not all on the same page to begin with,
well, then you don't hire the coach.
And that, my friends, is how we determine that Jay Gruden should not be there. But we're just the sports minions on the hottest radio show on internet radio on www.letgo.com. letgораdio.net. I'll get there eventually.
Words are tough.
Yeah, English language is hard. I'm just going to go
Hardest one out there.
Yep.
Even though it's your first language and only language.
Well, it's my. Yeah, I was going to say it's the only one. I don't think there's a wheelchair language out there that I know too well. But I know somebody that knows something real well and just got paid, as in Mike Trout. Man,
the fish?
No, not the baseball players.
Oh,
stay with me. My goodness,
I'm a little weird out today.
And those gizzards must have had more in them than you thought.
They were good,
obviously. Mike Trout, 12 years, 1 year less than Bryce Harper, $100 million more, $430 million for 12 years. I don't understand. Now, and I'm being honest here, how in the world does someone get paid
at his age
$433 million, number one, live up to the expectations.
Words are hard.
And then play to get that $433 million, $430 million.
I don't honestly think Mike Trout has 12 more years of baseball left in him.
Seriously.
But I think in his case, some of this is not only just his playing ability, but his ability to help the team in other ways.
And everybody's saying from what I'm reading on Twitter and Facebook and things like that he has the ability. But again,
he's a great player at the moment. I don't know that he could. He's
last.
He's on the upper end. So 12 years is probably a little stretch for him. But hey, I mean, if you get 8 of them out of them, and then 4 okay years, you're doing good.
Now, here's the thing. Football, of course, has the cap.
Baseball, and they have a hard cap.
And baseball does not. So he got $430 million guaranteed. That's all guaranteed money. With most of the football players, it's a section of that guaranteed because I guess it has to go everywhere.
Most of it is, whatever they put as the bonus is the only guaranteed money in football.
Right.
Unless, fumble fingers, Kirk Cousins.
$80 million man sitting
guaranteed
on the couch. Yep. And I wonder if it puts any oomph in them when they get paid this money and then they fail and they say, look,
depends on the personality of the person they sign.
I've got $80 million. What do I need to play for? I mean, that's
again. All right. Most people who are successful in professional sports have some kind of drive to prove how good they are.
Sure.
Now, if you're Hainsworth, when you get paid, you get fat and don't do anything.
Oh, was $100 million man? I mean, that was it came out of the Tennessee Titans.
Was the monster. Consider the Ndamukong Suh of his era.
Yeah.
Was just destructive. Hey, Curtis. But then got paid by the Redskins and got fat and lazy.
And nothing.
We got fat and lazy.
And the thing about it, that you look at a player and you say, okay, this guy is going to be the piece, and then he's a piece of pie because all he does is sit there on the bench and eat.
You got the Ndamukong Suh who got big payday over at Dolphins and still played hard. I mean,
even at the Lions. I mean, that's
what got him the big payday.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that he hasn't been signed.
Well, he's not quite. I mean, he's in his 30s now. He's not quite as good as he used to be. And he still wants the big money. He wants to be paid.
And I think, and again, we talked a little bit about this. Everybody wants to get the big money, but not everybody can make the big money.
Exactly.
And because it's gotta go around, number one. But in the same sense, you look at, I mean, Randall Cobb just got signed by the Cowboys, 1 year deal, $5 million.
And that's not unheard of for
that's average. That's about average, I would say.
I mean, he's on the tail end of his receiving career. He's not going to be like Fitzgerald and be able to make it and go. He's been injured a lot more. So, near the tail end of his career, $5 million is not that. He's still a good receiver.
So that's where, the difference in the caps with baseball, $430 million is
there is no cap. in baseball.
Right.
There's a soft cap in basketball, but no cap in baseball.
Now,
so that means that the teams that make the most can spend the most.
So the hard cap and the soft cap, can you define that? Meaning they can't go over that at all on the hard cap?
Means that they have X, and this is you pay this player X amount and it goes toward the cap.
Right.
Basketball is a soft cap in basketball is kind of strange. They have a bunch of weird rules about max pay and other things that limit, but that's how you get to end up with the super teams. There's a way to play with the money more than there is in football.
Can football not do that because there's too much money going around? I mean, is that
they have agreed to a hard cap, which helps with free agency, which forces teams not to be like the Cowboys of the 70s, the teams that were dynasties,
right?
Now, if you're a good team like my Patriots, you do it all the time.
Right. Hey, Isaiah, welcome to the Sports Minion Radio Show. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
You find ways to do it, but not everybody can do that.
Right. I mean, so I look at this right now, and one of the things we've been talking about, throughout our sports hour is Eric Berry now meeting with the Cowboys today. They signed Randall Cobb. You don't think that Eric Berry is the safety that he used to be?
No, I don't think he ever was the safety he was.
How come?
When he played for the Chiefs, he was surrounded by 3 other guys that were exceptional. And the reason the Chiefs didn't keep him and let him not re-sign him is because now that 2 of those guys are gone, one to the Rams, the other one I don't remember.
Right.
It showed that he's not quite as good as he was.
Well, and you've said it before, the Patriots have done this year in and year out. The big money contracts, they don't re-sign.
They, quarterback, maybe a receiver, they give a good hunk to Gronk because, he is I think the best tight end of all time. Not because, his numbers, but because of what he does for the team.
Right.
Not only can he receive like some of the greatest, but he can block. Plus, he messes up people's game plans constantly.
Right.
And they pay their line. Some of their line, but not all the time.
And it's smarter. I mean, in the draft, your goal is to get picks. And a lot of teams, even and Bill Belichick will do it too.
Oh, Bill Belichick, he'll come
trade
out
back.
Yeah, he'll come out with at the draft. He'll come out with
14 picks.
That was last year, and he makes good use of it.
But now here's my thing. I actually heard that Thornhill may. That's a good point, Curtis. I was reading. I actually heard on NFL.com today. I was looking at Dallas going. They said that there is a chance that Thornhill may go to Dallas, but in the situation where they may sign Eric Berry, would they still take Thornhill?
They would not. You don't spend $8 million on Eric Berry and then turn around and draft his replacement.
Right. And I see exactly where you're going there. Looking at a player, someone like Jordy Nelson, that's another one that has not
34 years old,
that has not been signed, but still has in my opinion,
he wasn't very productive with the Raiders last year.
Yeah.
But then again, Carr was not very good. So is that a barometer of Jordy Nelson, or is that a barometer of the other Gruden's coaching and their quarterback?
That's a good question because Gruden being out of the game for so long and then coming back into it and saying, look, they had all these people. They had Cooper, they had Nelson, they had Mack. They had
they didn't have Mack
because they traded him.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. When you have those pieces, and Mack is a beast. That dude.
Yeah, but he's an expensive beast.
Yeah, and you have to budget, so to speak, to get what you're going to do.
Just like a couple of the linebackers for Denver. You only can have 1 or 2 really expensive guys on defense, and then you have to cheap out on everyone else. So is it better to have, like the Patriots and some other teams, not pay the big bucks on defense, spreads the money around and get solid players, play a little bit different type of defense, and spend your money on certain positions.
And here's the thing. If everybody would do that, it seems like it would, even it out a little bit more to where it's going to help you in the long run.
Supposedly it is. Everybody spreads it out, and this is, all the players go. But, it's not, again, it's not having one or two great players.
I mean, look at Nick Foles for a minute. Nick Foles gets signed. He's going to start.
Well, he's got to. And look what the option was. Bortles.
Not anymore, because he's backing up Goff now. Goff and Bortles, I guess that's the same game. Maybe
well, they have a similar style.
Yeah.
They both can run, and so they're these guys, just like with Tannenhill to the Titans to back up Mariota.
Yep, just getting ready to talk about that. But are we going to see Nick Foles as in the one that is dynamic and accurate, or are we going to see the one that gets pressured and basically?
You look to the camera. Stop looking at me.
I'm sorry. I can't help it.
I'm so pretty.
I like to look at the person I'm talking to, but in the same sense, what's going to happen with him?
Well, hopefully the coaches understand that he is a motion, play action style quarterback, and that's what they go with. That's when he's at his best. That's what beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl and got the Eagles their Super Bowl, and they're in the Super Bowl run, almost a run last year.
Well, and looking at the Tennessee Titans getting Tannehill, and
well, that's good because Mariota if he gets hurt, at least you have a same similar style quarterback behind him.
Right. And then now you've got Fitzpatrick. That
Mr. Harvard
going to what the
10th team.
Look at it. And he's going to start.
Yeah.
And he's got to, because now the Dolphins have.
Well, they've got ton. They had 8 quarterbacks at one point. They can't figure out what they want. They went with Cutler for a while.
Well, one of the things, as far and Cutler was
horrible.
Was average.
No, he was horrible. But he had a big arm.
When he was with Chicago,
he was a gunslinger without the success of your gunslinger.
Of Brett Favre.
Because Brett Favre, when he blows the ball and the receiver catches it, then he catches for the first down.
And that's known as a reception.
That's known as a reception.
So, I get in looking at, football all around, you're looking, I don't think one guy is going to make a huge difference. I think it's going to be a piece of what you need, but you can't look at one guy, because if you do that and put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, and he gets hurt, your whole season's out the window.
Well, with quarterbacks, you have to kind of put all your eggs in one basket. There's only so many really good quarterbacks. So when that comes, that's one position you have to put your eggs in that basket and go, please, please, please don't get hurt. That's why I prefer pocket passers over runners.
Yep.
I'll take a scrambler next over a runner
that runs when he has to and knows how to get
moves around, scrambles some, and will run and slide for a few yards.
Yeah.
I'll take that. But I would prefer a pocket passer, because typically, if you have a good line, they don't get hit a lot.
All right, here's the thing. Kind of 2 questions folding in here. Looking at Arizona.
Oh my Lord! If they do what they're predicting, that is the dumbest people I've ever seen.
Let's go with that. What are they predicting?
They're predicting they're going to trade their 2nd-round pick from last year to get a 1st-round pick for this year. Both quarterbacks.
They've got Josh Rosen.
Who was under a different coach. They have a new coach this year. They had a horrible line. He made a lot of mistakes, But
look at what he had around him.
He was a 2nd-round draft pick.
Exactly.
You invested in him. You've seen something in him.
Exactly.
Get him a quarterback coach that'll help him instead of just getting rid of him for a runner.
I don't say this often, but I agree with that 110% because it's a smart move. You've got the guy; he's young, and you're right. You invested all this money in him already. Why not go with him?
Because they think they can. This next kid's going to be it, and the next
Haskins.
what they need to do. No, Murray.
They're good. That's right, Kyler Murray. Yeah, because
what they need to do is go to the Browns and ask them how successful they've been at that. Browns did 5 quarterbacks over 5 years, 2 or 3 first-round picks, and none of them were successful until Mayfield.
Yeah. And the thing about, going to the other quarterback question now, the Redskins have signed Keenum, and they're saying that I've heard and read that they're going to use Keenum as trade bait to go after to trade up and go after Haskins.
I think that's a smart move.
But who sits?
Nobody. He's going to start. If they do it that way.
Is he NFL ready? I mean, 6'4", 235 pounds.
I mean, he's all the interviews I've seen, he's smart. He's got a good, accurate arm. Mm-hmm. He can move in the pocket. He's not a runner, but he can run. I think if that's the way you want to go, and they're going to have that's their identity.
They have to commit to it.
They have to commit to it. If it takes signing Keenum and trading him so that you can get him and start him, as long as you don't do what you did with RG3.
Mm-hmm. Then that was a debacle right there, boy.
Yeah,
first year was great.
Well, that's because they let him run,
and they had to figure him out. Once they figured him out, it was chase him down and break his legs.
His mistake was he wanted to think he was Cam Newton, not RG3. He thought he was 6'5", 250 pounds and could run over a linebacker when he's 6'2" and 185.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually wrong. It's the Missouri quarterback Drew Lock that the Redskins are looking at.
And look, another he's a big boy too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if that's where you want to go, then go. But I don't think they need to move that far up to trade. And I think they'll keep Keenum and figure out a way to move up enough to get Locke
and let him sit under Keenum
for a year
to develop.
I don't think the way it's looking and the way they're making their moves. I don't think if they draft a quarterback, sign Keenum, I don't think Smith is coming back. I think they've pretty much decided that he probably won't be coming back if that's the case.
Right. And the thing about it is, you've said it so many times, but it's so important. It doesn't matter what you do if you don't have the identities to support it. It's going to fall through.
And look, Jay Gruden is not a horrible coach.
No, I don't.
But he's not imaginative.
No,
he doesn't.
Right. He adapts.
He doesn't adapt well.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same play calls
all the time.
You don't see an identity. Are they a passing team? Are they a running team?
You don't really know.
Are they a motion team?
Right.
What are they?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you building? When he first came in, he wanted big, giant linemen. And he wanted this and that. And this. He had an identity. Well, he never did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not what he said they wanted.
I honestly think if you look right now, the most dangerous team that's had the best draft that's had the best free agency and done the most danger through free agency is Cleveland. I mean, you look at Mayfield, Landry.
Mayfield was through the draft. Last year it was Landry. I mean, and
then they got Hunt, he's going to be suspended for the first 8 games. They've got Chubb. I mean,
they've done some really great. They've really great moves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, will they gel? I mean, their 2 receivers went to college together.
Right.
But they're both give me the ball guys.
Yeah.
Will they get in each other's way trying to fight for the ball?
Good question.
You got Chubb and Hunt who want to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got 2 receivers who want the ball. You got running backs who want the ball.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do? Well, how they gel together will determine whether they're going to be a good team or not.
Right. And on paper, they look great.
But every year the Patriots on paper look
Yeah, and look at what happened.
What was it? How many times last year did we hear
they're done?
That this team is on paper better than them.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, this team is better than them. It's got more talent than them. It's got more talent than them. It's got more talent than them.
Mm-hmm.
Every game, all through the playoffs, all near the end of the season, you hear this team has more talent. I don't know why they're losing to the Patriots. Because it's not all about talent.
I think it boils down to three things. Number one, you have to have a general on the field that can lead your team. That's Tom Brady. Number two, you have to have chemistry between your players to play for each other. It's not about playing for the coach, because the coach can coach them all day long. If they don't execute the plays that they're given, nothing is going to happen. They're not going to. And it's also about clock management and knowing where you are on the field from 10 yards to 10 yards, and that's what makes it happen.
And knowing your players, knowing your identity, and bringing in players that fit your identity.
As simple as it is, talking about Madden, and I want to say this, they have something called a scheme, and you talk about bringing in players to fit your scheme. If the player fits your scheme, it's stronger. If the player goes along with your scheme, you've got good receivers. If you're looking at bombing the ball down the field and you've got 6'4" receivers who are fast, that's going to help you. If you got speed receivers, if you're going to dink and dunk down the middle of the field and you're going to get plays and coming crossing routes, and you've got receivers who are clutch receivers, that's going to help you. And I think that in itself, going back to identity. Now, I'll tell you what scares me. Dallas this year is scaring me a little bit. I'm going to tell you
their
why.
Their coach is going to kill it for them.
How so?
Jason Garrett kills it every year. They can have all the talent in the world, but the only coach in that division that's worse than Jay Gruden is Jason Garrett. He has no imagination. He does not adapt at all. He comes out the second half and tries the same stupid stuff that didn't work in the first half, and he just doesn't change. Jason Garrett is not a good coach.
Because he doesn't change.
He doesn't adapt. He doesn't look at the team he's playing and build use the plays that he knows are going to work. He uses the same plays that he likes.
Now, being that they made the playoffs last year and
got beat.
I mean, but do you look at that and say because it's the same thing when it matters, it doesn't get affected? Or I'm just saying that the coach is the reason that they're not more successful. Listen, guys, if you've got an opinion on this, do me a favor. Call in 757-774-7552. Let us know what you think. Call in and speak to the Sports Minion on the Sports Minion Radio Show. I had to put the Z in there. But I did actually just read this today that Jason Witten now is going to re-sign with the Cowboys, and they're looking at bringing Peyton Manning in to the Monday Night Football spot. So Peyton Manning may he has not said whether he's going to take the position, but with Witten going back to the Cowboys, he retired.
He can't do any worse than Witten did.
I mean, So I mean, is that going to help him out? And does Witten go back to the Cowboys and do well?
Witten is old.
Mm-hmm.
He's still, I would assume, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But is he going to be a game changer now? I don't know. A year off, coming back at 37? I think he is.
I have to check.
He's like 36, 37.
Yeah.
Coming back at that age,
getting into football shape.
Yeah, getting back into football shape and be a game changer. I think he'll at times, help, but I don't think he's going to be that guy that he used to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He retired for a reason.
So you don't think he's going to be the guy that he used to be?
There's no way. I mean, he's getting older. He retired for a reason. Mm-hmm. His body probably couldn't take it as much. He was in his last couple of years. He was not as successful as he was in years before. Now he's got a year off and going to come back and try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Does this become Favre watch? Does Witten, get in there?
No, because he won't. I don't think he'll ever play for another team.
Well, see, the thing about it is, and when it's in your blood and it gnaws at you, you've got that year off.
How would you know? Has it ever been in your blood?
Football's been in my blood for years. It's just not in my legs. That's the problem. I wonder, and here's another football situation, and I want to bring this up because I've actually read several comments on this. Landon Collins has respected Sean Taylor ever since he's been in high school. He wore his jersey in high school because of how much he respected him. Daniel Snyder gave him an autographed jersey of Sean Taylor's, and Landon was absolutely speechless, went to dinner at his house, cried, couldn't believe that he got the jersey. He wants to wear 21. I'm not going to say what Clinton Portis said on the air, but Clinton Portis is livid. I mean, absolutely livid that they're even thinking about letting him wear this jersey because his Santana Moss's and Sean Taylor's lockers were all together. And when they moved that locker, he said he never recovered from it. And he said a lot of words I can't say on the radio about do not let him retire the jersey. Here's my question. In honoring a player like that, if you honor him, because they're saying if he does poorly, it's going to look bad on Sean Taylor. How is that possible?
I mean, everybody has their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the young man that went to the military from the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name at the moment.
Not Fitzgerald.
No, the safety.
Oh, gosh.
He went into the military and was killed in action.
Yep.
And the Cardinals retired his number.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. That is he died not on the he died doing something for the country, which football is the United States thing.
Right.
So I agree with the retiring of the number.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with retiring the number of someone who's played their entire career or the majority of their career and done great things for your team for a long period.
Sure, on and off the field. Yeah.
I understand Sean Taylor was great. I'm not taking any way of his legacy of football,
mm-hmm.
but it was only a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Other great players have worn that number.
Mm-hmm.
Should they retire it for Sean Taylor because he was killed in his home
mm-hmm.
and during whatever that was?
Escalation there.
We don't even. No one knows for sure exactly what happened. If he was, And look, I'm not demeaning him in any way.
No, not at all.
I don't know that you necessarily. Now, to the players that played with him and knew him personally,
and Clinton did. Yeah,
they played together for a few years, and he probably knew him. And yes, to them, he thinks it should be retired.
Mm-hmm.
But to retire that number for Sean Taylor was with 21, correct?
Right, 21.
Who else wore 21? Darryl Green.
Mm-hmm.
28.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 28.
Deion
Sanders. A bunch of other people, great players, have worn 21
mm-hmm.
for the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
So to retire that number and say it was Sean Taylor's number is a little demeaning to all the other people who worn it too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, some good guys that came through the Redskins and wore that number for long periods of time.
So where does the idea? I mean, is this just an opinion that if he wears the number and doesn't succeed, that he's going to be, that he's going to reflect, Sean Taylor badly?
No. Sean Taylor doesn't own that number.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, other people have worn that number.
Right.
So, I mean, let's say, all right, we'll use Joe Theismann as an example, number
mm-hmm.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next person that wears number 7 demeans Theismann's
John Elway. Mm-hmm.
But that was another team. I'm referring for the Redskins.
Right.
Another person coming into the Redskins and wears 7.
Josh Johnson. Yeah.
Is his play a bad play demean Joe Theismann's? I don't agree with that. I think the problem is that the people that are saying this
mm-hmm.
had something to do with Jason Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Jason Taylor had worn it for 13 years,
mm-hmm.
then yeah. What number did D'Angelo Hall wear?
Yeah. I mean, that's
when he played for 10 or 12 years for the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite successful.
Mm-hmm.
He was 21.
Yeah.
They didn't complain that when he had 21.
Yeah.
The reason they're complaining is because of another safety.
For some reason, I'm thinking he's 24. I don't know. I would have to.
Well, there's been a few people
that have worn it. Yeah.
So no, I don't agree that it'll demean Sean Taylor's legacy. The problem is he didn't. I mean, he didn't have a great legacy anyway. He had a few great years,
and did some great things.
If he had been able to, if that hadn't happened, I think honestly he would have been a great player for a long period of time.
I the way I look at it, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, or if you think, I think it shines a light on Sean, and I think that when you wear his number, it brings light to him and shows how important he was to the organization. For somebody to mean that much to Landon Collins, that does a lot for him, and it motivates him to play harder and play well, and it doesn't demean Sean Taylor.
I don't think somebody else wearing his number demeans him in any way. It's a number. Hundreds of people have worn 21 on any given team.
Right.
I mean, that's like saying you're demeaning everyone's legacy because you wore the number and wasn't as good as the person before you. Number 5, nobody on the Redskins should ever wear number 5 because it's a demeaning number because Heath Schuler bombed it.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean,
even Brett Favre. I mean, number 4. You know, there have been very few to wear number 4. I mean, he's still. I think it's because of his death that
I understand it's because of his death, and I don't disagree that his memory should be remembered, but
it's okay. Words are hard. I understand.
No, I'm trying to word it so I don't sound crass, because I'm not. I think that his death means something,
right?
But I don't think his number should be retired because he was killed
in the way he was killed.
Yeah, you know, the only reason not Pittman, what was his name?
He's Googling, guys. Give him just a minute. You know, and this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. You know, we're all saddened by Sean Taylor's death, and Clinton Portis especially, because he did know him and he played with him, and they were like brothers. I mean, there was you can read the articles on it, and I can't put myself in his shoes, but I can understand where he's coming from. But to be that heightened when all I think Collins wants to do is to honor Sean in the best way he knows how. I don't think that's wrong.
I don't disagree that he should have his opinions. I mean, look, everybody has their opinions on the subject, and it hurts him one of the most because he played. I mean, again, Clinton Portis was a great running back. Should we retire his number?
No.
Now, I mean,
so it's got a lot to do with his death and all of that. Yeah,
it has all to do with his death.
Yeah. It's a toughie. While you're Googling that, I'm going to mention just a couple things. Clay Matthews signed a 2-year deal, and he's with the Rams. He can earn up to $16.75 million in that 2 years. Good home for him. I mean, Rams trying to beef it up a little more to get back where they were last year.
Pat Tillman, by the way.
Pat Tillman, there we go. Thank you.
Left the Cardinals to go serve as an Army Ranger. He was killed in action, and the Cardinals retired his number. And I agree with that one. He went. I mean, only because he went to serve the military, to do his duty as an American, and he lost his life serving his country. And I agree that was a little bit more of a meaningful, you know.
Right.
But if we've had a lot of players, you know, that have done great things, and either you retire their number for all their greatness,
right?
That's I understand that.
Well, and again, you're not demeaning his death in any way, and I see where you're coming from. Also, it does make a lot of sense. Guys, I want to take the last couple of minutes here that we've got. We've got about 2 more minutes. We've got about 12 minutes.
To talk about how wonderful I am.
Well, we could do that, but you actually brought something up that shocked me WWE-wise that I didn't see. Last night, of course, Monday night, we watched Raw, and everybody knows that Ronda Rousey's going rogue.
Everybody knows I'm smarter than DJ.
Not everybody.
I thought we were talking about how wonderful I am.
Well, we're gonna go there. Give me time. Let me.
I was born awesome, not perfect.
That was what was that? The koozie. Yeah. Thanks, Mom. That was. I got to live with that for the rest of my life now. I look at this. Ronda the other night came out.
We going through puberty?
Yeah. Sorry, voice. But she told the referees to move. They did not move. She made them move. She was fined last week for slapping a referee in the face rather hard, and the look on his face was, oh my God, I just got bulldozed by a truck.
I got my butt whooped by a girl.
Now, here's the thing. Her husband, I had his name, and all of a sudden I cannot remember it now.
I don't care because I'm not her husband.
I'm gonna.
I should be.
I'm gonna tell
She's
you.
supposed to love me.
Love him, Rhonda. Love him. Love him. Follow us on Twitter at the Sports Minion Radio Show at Minion Sports. I saw her husband,
who is an MMA fighter himself, and a pretty good one,
elbow the bejesus out of a security member.
The ref had bejesus in him?
I'm not sure what he had, but whatever he had, it was gone when he hit the ground. Because you see people dazed. This dude weren't dazed. He was out. He was out. I have to say, I don't know if he's coming into WWE. He may be.
Well, Gronkowski came and played in the. It may just be a thing. May not be. Who knows?
Not going to go too much into this, but Kofi Kingston.
Please don't go in there again. Your rant. Your rant to a man who's not even running the sport anymore.
Look, I feel bad for Kofi. They don't even know he's Jamaican no more.
He's not Jamaican. He lied.
I went back.
You're Jamaican me crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That was his shirt. But excellent job. 5 men defeating 5 men last night. Powerbomb through a table.
Can we understand that it was in the script for him to do that?
Yeah.
So when you fuss that you're not giving him anything, they're giving him these great matches.
As I said, I know he's going to be at Mania. I realize this is all storyline. I get it. I understand. But how they're going to put him in there now that McMahon has given it to him and taken it away 3 different times, I don't understand where they're going to go.
Who knows? They're doing something different for a change.
It is definitely different.
You don't like change. You are not a change type person.
No, I like dollars, okay? I like dollars and positive reinforcement. A lot of positive reinforcement.
Too bad. I'm not your life coach.
Oh, my gosh. The life coach has left me. We do have the Cerebral Palsy conference coming.
Hold on. The whole reason you brought that up was to talk about what I said, and then you take away what I said.
All right. Calm down before you bust a blood vessel somewhere.
Oh, that vein right here in my forehead's getting swollen up.
I know it's going down to your nose. Be careful. All right. Tell them what you think. You think something's being set up for Mania?
I think that Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey are going to be a tag team.
Okay.
They are getting ready to push the tag team division because it's new. They've already given it to the Hugger and the Boss, which I thought was a great start.
Okay.
But you got to have a major tag team to go against them.
And you've
what would be better than 2 nasty girls? And not in the bad way of nasty,
but the good way.
But the good way of nasty.
So, and that could be interpreted 2 ways, so be careful.
Either way the good way goes, I'm okay with.
So, do you think Ronda's going to lose the title at Mania?
I don't think so.
No?
No. I think that this is for the future.
I don't think she's going to lose it at Mania, but I think she'll lose it at soon after.
I agree. They're going to have to take it away from her because, I don't know what her deal is, if she honestly wants to have kids and all that stuff, or if that's just a gimmick or whatever. But, it is what it is.
I think right now, Drew McIntyre, they're pushing Drew now because Drew's been kind of turned around into that Triple H role, sort of.
But he's not a very good Triple H.
No, there's only one. Now, here's the newest thing that they've done in this one. One match, it's a one-off, and I think it's crazy. They brought back Batista to fight Triple H, no holds barred, at Mania.
Because they got no other men to put there.
Yep. I get it. And
they would have put Angle in there, but he can't. I mean, his 10 fused vertebrae in his neck. A man can't even turn his head.
I have to give Angle credit because this last wrestling tour that they're doing, or whatever they're calling it, the Angle's Last Stand, or where he's wrestling. He put on a match last night with Chad Gable, and you got to see a little bit, just a glimpse of Kurt Angle's wrestling takedown suplex, beautiful ability for a man as old as he is.
And with as many vertebrae as him,
and he's still got so much talent. And as I can say, the great thing here, it's good to see it. His last match is going to be at Mania, versus Baron Corbin. I think that was a horrible opponent for him, but he's feuded with him the entire time, so that's what they're going to do.
Might as well let him beat up Corbin.
Real quick, want to cover the Cerebral Palsy conference that's coming up March 30th. Want everybody to going to be at Harborview, and I'm sure Miss Winnie can put in the comments here, the address on that. We want you to come out and support it, whether you have a disability or not. Come out and join us. It's going to be a great conference. Going to be from 10 to 5. Come out and check us out. It's going to
see Brother Palsy.
Brother Palsy at LoveMe.com. Brother Palsy. There we go. It's going to be a good one, and it's going to be a great event for a great cause. So come out and support. And you know what? If nothing else, come out to learn something. A lot of people don't know, the true facts about cerebral palsy. Some do. But come out and learn something. You might leave there better than you were when you got there, and there's nothing wrong.
I can't get any better.
Now wait a minute. Now don't say that, because then you put a ceiling on yourself.
I'm on the tail end of my ceiling, brother.
All right, I'm on the tail end of this chair. We're not going.
You're on your tail end, period.
Well, all the time. But that's just the way it goes. Listen, these are the Sports Minions. The Sports Minions. You know where we are. Follow us on Twitter at The Sports Minion Radio Show. At Minion Sports. Follow our Facebook like page, The Sports Minion Radio Show, and please be sure to go to Chuck Carter and join our Facebook account for The Sports Minion Radio Show. You can also email us at thesportsminionradioshow@yahoo.com. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. These are the Sports Minions saying, see you when we see you.
Love me.
Peace.